Well, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. We're going to hang out here for a few minutes when everybody else kind of logs in. I have my colleague Daniel Santiago on here who will be monitoring the chat box, and everybody should know Jen Halbut, the CEO of Riverside Cruises. Hi, Jen. How are you?
Hey, Chaz. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great. Jen's had quite the morning to get on this webinar, so we want to make sure she's having a great time.
I'm excited. I'm very excited to be doing this with you guys, honestly.
All right, everybody. So we're going to get started here. So if you guys have any questions, Daniel will be monitoring the chat box. So as a challenge to everybody, if you have not worked with Regal Wings, there is a QR code in the bottom right-hand side of this slide. I would like anybody who has not worked with us to scan that QR code, register, and submit a quote, and then tell me how long it takes to get a quote back from us throughout this webinar. But the highlight here today, so elevating luxury travel with our luxury Riverside Street Cruises CEO, Jen Halbut. Hi, Jen. How are you?
I'm awesome, Chaz. I'm so happy to be here.
Absolutely.
Oh, there I am.
Jen and I have been friends for a while. It's great. We work with together as well now here too. So our partnership is quite unique. So with the new bundling that we're going to be talking about here today, we really kind of are setting a new precedent in not only the travel space, but both the airspace and the Riverside luxury cruises space. So Jen, I'm going to turn it over to you and you can give us a quick update about Riverside, and then I'll jump over and we'll talk about the partnership.
All right. Sounds good. All right. You're going to be my driver, right? All right. Yeah. Keep going.
Yes.
All right.
Here we go.
So yes, we are a luxury river cruise line. Hopefully some of you have heard of us, and at least I hope all of you on are aware of river cruising or already selling river cruising, because you should be. I've actually been selling river cruises for 23 years now. I was previously with Avalon for 19 years and was hire number 1 here at Riverside back in September of 22. Yeah, Patty sailed with us last year. Sweet. I hope Patty tell everyone how amazing it is. Well, anyway, everyone kind of, if you do, some people know the story. We got the 5 former Crystal River ships. So we have all 5 ships. We own all 5 ships. We're only sailing 3 right now. We'll sail 3 through 26. We're going to roll the Riverside Bach back into the fleet in 27. And then in 28, we'll have the Maulers. We'll have 5 ships by 28. But it takes some time to build a brand and to also come into a category that is very entrenched with a lot of beloved brands, a lot of past guests. So we've got our work cut out for us. The backstory on where this came from is the parent company, Seaside Collection Hotels. They're actually a family-run business still to this day, hotel business out of Europe. Started in the 70s. They still have 10 hotels in Europe, and then 4 and 5-star properties. Then they have 1 in the Maldives, private island, the Honolulu, and this property is like 6-star. So if any of you on there have clients that really just love an over-the-top hotel resort experience, you may want to hear about the Honolulu. So he took possession of the ships, took the Mozart in May of 22, and only got the additional ships in January of 23. We've sailed 2 years, but we've only sailed 1 year with all 3 ships. So going into 25, this will be our 2nd year sailing all 3 ships. So we're very excited. We'll be at the Asta River Cruise Expo. If some of you are on and going to that, we hope you'll come and, say hello. Yeah, you can go to the next slide. So these are the 3 ships we have right now. So the Mozart was the very first one we sold. We debuted at the Asta River Cruise Expo in 23 with it. It's an extra wide, similar to the Alma Magna. So it's gorgeous. I mean, you feel like you are in a luxury hotel, but of course, because it's an extra wide, it can only sail from Passau down through the Iron Gates, down into Serbia and such. Then we float in the Revel. The Revel sailed a little bit in August of 23, but really this past season was her first true, full sailing year. She is exclusively on the Rhone and Saône, doing the south of France, doing all the food and wine. So she's beautiful. The Revel and the Debussy are sister ships. We actually christened the Debussy at this past year's Asta River Cruise Expo up in Amsterdam. So began sailing right after in March. Starts with Tulip Time, comes down onto the Rhine, goes the Mosel, the Main, and then also goes on to the Danube. So even though we only have 3 ships, The way we kind of design the itineraries, we can, we still have a lot of coverage, but we're about quality, not quantity. So, but what makes us, kind of more unique? And what are things that you want to know? When you think about all the ships, they're all spacious. I mean, you walk on these ships, you feel, there's a lot of light that comes in, you feel the open spaces. They're all suite ships. We have the largest average suite size. You can get an all-inclusive experience, though we do have 4 levels of pricing. I'm pretty sure what you want to sell to your clients is the all-inclusive, and we can talk a little bit about that. 1 to 2 staff to guest ratio, or what I like to say is 1 to 1 suite to crew ratio. So for every suite we have on board, we have a crew member, and those crew members are all specialists in what they do. If you're a bartender, you're a bartender. If you're the spa specialist, you're the spa specialist. If you work in the dining room or you work in Shorex, everyone really does their craft. They're not moving around between different jobs. We have spa, we have fitness center, a lot of lounges. We've always had Starlink. We were the first ones to introduce Starlink on the river. We have this is a fan favorite, I know, complimentary self-service laundry. Of course, you can still pay to have something pressed or dry cleaned, but you can go down and do your laundry anytime. And I'm telling you, those machines are always full. And just throughout, it really is, a beautiful, beautiful experience. I mean, everyone said when I started, it was the thing that I just was taken aback by the most, is that every advisor I ran into was like, oh, those are the most beautiful ships. And you've been really happy that they've all come back to one home. So when it really comes to what, is unique to us, because I say it on every webinar, I'll always say it, all the lines do an amazing job. River cruising is a special, amazing style. I mean, Viking on up to Riverside, and I do think that is the continuum, just do an amazing job. It's a special way of traveling, but we really are going after the luxury traveler. I mean, we want to help, and hopefully you're on because you have luxury travelers, because Regal Wings does premium and economy above, and we have a luxury experience once they get there. Like I said, the largest average suite size, we have a butler assigned to every suite. No matter what category you're in, you will have access to a butler. And what's cool is you can WhatsApp that butler anytime during your cruise. If you're out on an excursion, you can WhatsApp your butler and say, I'm freezing out here. It's Christmas markets. I'm a little colder than I thought I would be. Turn the heat up in my room, please. So when I get back, I'm nice and toasty. This is very unique to us. King size bed in every suite. Now we know, especially for American travelers, right? Like a king size bed is really key. And of course you can have it together as a king or separated as twins, but then at least those twin beds are larger. 24-hour room service. Okay, really the food on Riverside is another level. So because we put less people on board, we put 110 guests on a 135-meter ship. Others put 140, 150, 160, up to Viking 190. So we have larger galleys. We have more chefs. Everything is made on demand. We have the great pop-up bar. If you want to see it, it's right behind me. The pop-up bar can come up when we're not sailing under bridges. You can sit up there and sit at a real bar as you're sailing by castles. We put 2 green eggs up on the Vista deck and do barbecue lunch and giant prawns and steak. But one of the things that I love that the advisors have loved the most is the shorter cruises. We've built our cruises because, again, we only have 3 ships, and we don't want you to, if we just built them as 7-night itineraries, always having to depart on the same day. To give you variety, you can do a 3-night. You can combine a 3-night with a 4-night to get to your 7, and then add another 3-night and get to your 10. So the modularity is really great to allow you to kind of build, or also to just build land around it and introduce people to river cruising. The 4 levels of pricing structure. Now, I encourage you to sell the all-inclusive, but for some people who want to come on and just use the ship as a hotel, you'll get your meals, you'll get access to the ship, and that's what we call full board. But then maybe you want to add on the drink package, and our drink package is amazing. Premium drink package includes Taittinger champagne, all our botanist cocktails, many choices of wine, spirits. It's not like one choice in each category. I mean, really, probably 90% of what's at our bar on a ship is included in the premium package. Or maybe you're not a drinker and you just want to do full board plus excursions. But I encourage you to do full, what we call all-inclusive premium with excursions. And that's just going to be everything. It also includes your transfers. It includes your gratuities for the crew and land, all the great ship amenities. But we do have a few things like the vintage room or spa services, or maybe some top shelf liquor that would be additional price. But really, if you do the all-inclusive, there's really no reason to spend another dime once you get on board. And shore excursions, this is one area people always ask about, and we are getting there. If anyone did sail with us in 24 or 23 especially, we had some growing pains. Land is the hardest part of river cruising. Really, I mean, it takes a while to develop the relationships, to find the right partners, to really, and for us, to really craft unique luxury on land experiences. And we're learning every day. I think those of you who have maybe sailed previously, when you get around with us in 25 or 26, you're going to continue to see us get with improvement. But we do a nice combination of more traditional walking tours that include things that, like you want to go into the Cologne Cathedral. But then we have immersive experiences like going to the chocolate museum and doing a chocolate tasting, which I did in Cologne, which is great. Going, maybe doing a wine tasting or a cooking class, something really immersive in the destination. And then, of course, active. You got to have active these days, and especially if you're targeting the luxury traveler. We do have fitness rooms on all our ships as well, and bikes on board, a mix of, electric and regular. But you can go on a hike, a bike, a kayak. My favorite, I talk about it all the time, my favorite excursion I ever did was a 5-mile kayak under the Pont du Gard in the south of France. Then we got picked up, all of us that did the kayak, we got taken to a winery and had a private lunch with amazing food and wine. So these are the kind of, choice excursions that we offer with Riverside. And we can also make anything private if you like. One thing that we've really worked on, we've done this a little bit, but now we're really coming out in 26 and making sure, or 25, and making sure we have it on every 7-night cruise. It's what we call our signature event. Examples are a private concert at the Belvedere in Vienna, or going to that winery I talked about in the south of France, but going at night. And it's just, everyone on the ship. What's cool about the signature event is that it's for everybody on the ship. You don't have to choose it. And, even if you don't do the all-inclusive package, it's included. So that's a really, really special moment that we're doing on every 7-night sailing. And these are going to be the things that come back and really brag about. We've won some things. Okay. I don't really like award slides. I'm kind of like, but at the end of the day, we're brand new. And so, people are kind of like, oh, okay, do you really matter? The one I'm most proud of is that we won Cruise Critic 2 years in a row, Best Dining on the River, in the first 2 years that we've sailed. So it kind of helps me when I say our food's amazing. It's the Cruise Critic, right? And then we have an amazing sales team here, and we've grown. I was hire number 1. We're now up to a team of 12. And this is my amazing sales team. We've got Peter up in Canada. We've got Matt out in California and Hawaii. Kelly does the rest of the West. Desiree's in Atlanta and does the Southeast and South. Ian is up in the Brooklyn and does the Northeast and Upper Midwest. Ian and Desiree just joined our team a little bit before the holidays. And then Michelle Rodriguez Suarez now is doing Latin America, Asia, India, and MICE. So that's kind of us in a nutshell. Fast and furious, but hopefully it gives you a much better sense for the product, and you can see why we've partnered with Regal Wings.
Awesome, Jen. Well, thanks so much for that rundown. Personally, I've actually never been on a river cruise, so I'm going to blame you for this. But
you've been on my ship. You've been on my ship before. You've come to some of my parties on ship.
Correct. And Regal Wings will also be at Astor River Cruise Expo. So a few fun questions that have come through kind of before jumping over to talk about our partnership. If clients arrive a day before the cruise, are airport transfers included, or will I have to book them privately?
You will have to book those privately. So we include them on the day of. And a little delineation with the transfers. So transfers are included for everyone. But when you buy the top 2 suite categories on any ship, those transfers are private. So if you're buying selling the Debussy or Ravel, if you sell the Ravel or the Riverside suite, the Debussy suite, those will be private transfers. On the Mozart suite or the Penthouse suites include private transfers. But on but on the day we get up.
So a fun personal question of mine. So I've worked previously for a company that also included butler service. What's the most ridiculous butler request you guys have had on Riverside so far?
I don't know. I don't know this yet. You know, what we're working on. I'll tell you, I'm going to find this out though when I come to Vienna for sure. But I'm glad you talked about the butler service though, because one of the challenges that we've run into is that we hear from so many advisors that you hear from your clients, like, I don't want to use a butler. I don't know how to use a butler. So we're really trying, we're actually updating a flyer right now that is, gives more creative suggestions of how you can use your butler. But really, they're there to be your main point of contact on the ship. If you just go to your butler, WhatsApp your butler, even if your butler isn't the person to answer the question, they'll be like, oh, I'll bring you over to Shorex, or oh, I'll go to, to reception and talk to them about that for you. Use your butler. And we have found that people who finally break the seal and allow their butler to unpack their suitcase, it completely changes everything. So give it a whirl next time you come on Riverside.
No, I can vouch. Having someone unpack and pack for you on a cruise is a great way to bookend as well too. So, anyways,
Yeah.
Jen, thanks so much. We'll get back to you here shortly. But everybody, thanks for joining here as well. Well, today we wanted to give you a quick rundown of Regal Wings as well. So, hopefully, all of you who are on the webinar here today have worked with Regal Wings. What makes us unique and different in this industry is we consider ourselves a luxury air concierge service. So what makes us different is the personal element and really making your life as easy as possible. So our business model focuses on premium economy, business and first class air internationally. So flying into Europe, obviously for a Riverside cruise. But if your clients are looking for other continents, we serve them as well. Africa, Asia, South America, Australia. If anybody is looking at Australia right now, our contracts have come through that are extremely strong. As well. So if you guys do have any clients going down under, it's a great opportunity that way. Once registering with us, you then are paired up with a dedicated concierge agent from Regal Wings. So with airfare, it's generally a diminishing return for a travel advisor going onto a website, spending a lot of time researching flights for your guests that have a zero commission. With us, all it takes is sending in a request on our page, then receiving an email back saying, point click, hey, let's book that. And then in about a 30-minute time frame, we can have your clients fully booked and ready to go. One element that's really great with us is our 24/7 service. So the 24/7 service is available to you as a travel advisor at any time. So let's say you've got clients flying on a river cruise in 2 weeks to Vienna, and unfortunately one of your clients falls or has a medical emergency, and really to figure out what their options are. The 24/7 line is available 365 days, 24/7, monitored by a Regal Wings employee. So that call comes into us at now an after hours situation. We will handle that accordingly with our Regal Wings employees. They'll tell you what your options are, what you can change to, what the refund policies are. But the best thing about this is set from 72 hours until your client reaches final destination. So when I say reaches final destination, that's not if they got diverted to another city and then had to fly again. We want to make sure they get there to their final city of purchase as well. But the 24/7 service is available for your client during that time frame. So let's say your client is flying from Charlotte to Budapest, connecting in Paris. Our 24/7 line is available to them if they misconnect, if they delay, or if they get canceled outright, where your client can call us directly. This is another huge element of our business model that sets us apart from all the major airline providers as well too, just because we will jump out in front of things. We will foresee things coming. We will hold space on other flights, knowing that there are delays coming, there's weather coming, and so on and so forth. It also is a peace of mind element for you and your client. So rather than getting that oh so fun phone call at 3 a.m. in the morning when your client potentially might miss connect in Europe to go onto the river cruise, that call comes to our specialist and we will make sure that they get there in a timely fashion. We're really kind of redefining how you can bundle airfare and cruising, just because with us, you have the simplicity of booking with us, but also the expertise of choosing the exact same flights that you want. I've worked with previous companies where you receive an air schedule 60 to 90 days prior, but when you're spending $20,000 in a river cruise, they want to fly specific routings on specific flights with specific seats. Those sometimes are not available because there's limited seats available at that time. With us, you can integrate us into your booking system and your reservation elements, where we can send you proactive flights 330 days prior to your client's river cruise, to their safari, to their tour as well. We also open up another revenue stream. There is a lot of commission that can be had with booking Regal Wings airfare. We will disclose all that commission information in the emails, in the connections you have with your reservation agent. And then once you start booking with us, the dedicated reservation specialist that you have becomes a huge ally for you as well. So if you're paired up with Ashley or Nicole or Bianca or what have you, if you need an airfare schedule, it's a simple email away. All you need to do is, it would behoove you not to send us an email if anything is even bundled together on a cruise, on a tour, on a safari, just because sometimes we do find diamonds in the rough. For example, I'm going to be going to Japan in May here, and looking at premium economy options from where I live, I was looking at a price around $4,000 round trip. When I had Regal Wings look this up, we found round trip airfare for $2,700. So not only did it save me money, there was actually going to be built-in commission into that as well too. And that brings me to commission. So you will be paid 48 hours to about 3 weeks after the initial transaction occurs with Regal Wings. One thing to keep that in mind is that commission, if the client cancels, will be recalled. But like I mentioned before, it's a great way to start driving business through a avenue in travel that has been relatively challenging, or there's been a diminishing return as well here too. So this is the four-step process of working with us. So you would register on regalwings.com/quote. Hopefully some of you scan this QR code and have a active quote input from us at the start of the webinar. The second element after you input the information. So what you put in here will be where you're departing, where you're going, what your clients are looking for, cabin category, are they flexible? As much notes as you can put in here as possible are great. You can also say, hey, we want to do a stopover here. We want to add this. We want to add that. It really is a great way to kind of having a one-stop shop of sending in a request form. About 15 minutes to 45 minutes later, you'll receive your initial email from your reservation agent, from your concierge agent from Regal Wings. So this is prepared by Chelsea. You can see up here her name, her phone number, her extension is available. If you want to call her directly and talk your way through this, you can, or you can start sending emails back and forth. So this example, let's say you want the inbound flight from option 1 and the outbound flight from option 4. You can combine those two together to then get your schedule, to then come to you as a final email saying, okay, let's book. Number 3 then comes through as a detailed email and a dual verification confirmation link. So we will ask for your agency information, your host agency information, the client's information, including legal name, passport number, frequent flyer number, TSA pre-check, because we will fully book your clients as well. So if they want seats booked, if they want meals booked, so on and so forth, we will take care of all of that here. One thing to keep in mind with us, and the misnomers that some people have with working with a concierge service, is I won't receive my benefits. I won't receive my points. That couldn't be further from the truth. You actually receive almost more booking with us. You'll get your mileage. You'll get all of the and that's included on the airline. You also receive all the amenities that you would get with the fare class you're booking. If anybody's booking, let's say, Q Suites on Qatar Airways, where you get the car and driver from your home to the airport, the private check-in, the airport lounge, the car and driver service at the lounge from on the tarmac, you will receive all of that booking with us. On top of that, you also receive our 24/7 line for anybody for assistance as well too. Once you complete the booking, you will receive number 4, which is our travel agent copy and client copy. And we're also working on a new element to be sent out 72 hours prior to your client's flights with the 24/7 information and how to get a hold of us in emergencies and what qualifies for that as well. And the last thing I want to talk about here today is kind of the advantage of working with Regal Wings in terms of a pricing structure and the fare classes we work in. So prior to COVID in 2021, net fares were the rage in travel, where there's $4,000 nets, where these crazy discounts were available. That's become less and less post-COVID, and when airlines had kind of tightened up on benefits as well. We're seeing stronger nets come back right now. For example, those Australia nets, Asia, Europe is now coming back further and further. So a net fare is when a concierge service has a lower contracted rate than the published fare from the airline. So this example, let's say it's $7,600. The published fare is $7,900. This is kind of a smaller example. You can slide that net fare all the way up to the published fare, and that will be your commission on that route. Generally, you're seeing kind of a larger number here. I like to use New York to JFK to Heathrow as the example. That airfare should be out the door about $3,500. If you're seeing that one way for anything over that, reach out to us and say, hey, what can you do here? Just generally because you'll generally get a better cost from us that way. You're seeing net fares available about 330 days prior till about a couple months after that, and then also 45 days and in, just because the airline wants to increase load factor on that plane, inherently increasing the cost for published guests. Also, you'll see net fares at a last minute structure. So let's say your clients want to go on a river cruise in April and they're like, well, it's cost prohibitive because the airfare is so expensive. Reach out to us and say, hey, do you have anything you can do here on a last minute structure? Just because 45 days and in, airlines also release net fares, just because as much as we think airlines love us, they never want to upgrade you. They want to sell that seat. So even if it's a diminished return for them, the net fares really are a big example and a big kind of element of the business model for a concierge program as well. The other element that we try and work in is called contracted fares. So in this example here, the contracted fare would probably be around $7,900 rather than $8,000. So there's a small savings for your guest, where there's about $300 of commission built into the fare. That will be disclosed to you that way. So there's no how much do I mark this up, what's available, et cetera, that way. It's really just kind of ironed out for you that way. The last piece we work in is called published airfare. So this would be booking the $7,900 ticketing published fare right here. The advantage of working with us in that published fare sector is that 24/7 service still is applicable. So if anything goes wrong, we take care of it. If anything happens, we take care of it. What I suggest here is adding a ticketing fee. So there is something on commission on your end of $75, $100. And you can kind of equate that saying, hey, the 24/7 service is what my ticketing fee is including in my planning fee and so on and so forth. It's a way to kind of huddle and go about your way that way too. Anyways, Jen wanted to bring you back in here so we can talk about our partnership. So the partnership between
Never went anywhere.
Wings and the partnership between Regal Wings and Riverside Luxury Cruises, as I mentioned, is really unique and different. Just because once you go through a Riverside booking, you'll be prompted to say, hey, are your clients interested in airfare? From there, a Regal Wings employee is contacted, and then we proactively will reach out to you saying, what are you looking for? What are your clients' needs? As I mentioned, this is a huge advantage compared to other operations, just because you can really go through the entire airfare opportunities rather than kind of being put in a box. So Jen, can you compare what we have to other past river cruise lines and what the advantages are from your side as well?
Yes, obviously. I mean, it's so great that Chaz ended up at Regal Wings because, like you said, we've known each other a long time. Listen, we are a small company, okay? And we are niche. We are focused on luxury. I've worked at, I watched it at Avalon, and to have a true air department as a tour operator or a river cruise line is a massive task. I mean, shout out to everyone who works in an air department at a cruise line or a tour operator. I mean, they work very hard. We just couldn't do it well. Our job is to deliver an amazing luxury river cruise experience. Regal Wings' job is to get your clients there in comfort and style, right? So those two come together. It's like Reese's peanut butter cup, right? It's super delicious. And that is why, I mean, it's smart for us. It's smart for you. It's better for the client. And they're going to handle all that back and forth. We know that air is not easy. It'll probably never be easy again. So by coming together, it's a way for us to do a very complicated way in a very complicated thing in a very simple way.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's one of those things that it's advantageous, even send us an email with any river, with all river cruises, just because, like I said, there can be a price advantage, or really just fitting your client's schedule as well too.
And because we include transfers on all our pricing, it's like once you throw Regal Wings Air on it, you are done.
Exactly. So Jen, why don't you talk about your pre-post options and how our airfare mixes into that as well?
Well, we're still developing pre-post. So that's one of the things we always get asked, right? And so people do want to come in. So they're doing it themselves, or you as the advisor are doing it. We are working on some things, and we will eventually have pre-post packages, but we're maybe doing something in the short term to at least allow you to more easily book pre-post hotel. But since we don't have it right now, I mean, your clients do want to come in. And if you were to buy cruise line air, then you'd have to only be able to fly on the days that we're sailing. So Regal Wings can really step in and like do your air whenever you want, do anything pre-post, and then get on your Riverside luxury cruise.
Right. I was actually with a group of travel advisors last week, and this exact thing happened where the client had to come in a couple of days early, but the cruise lines only had hotels to a certain day. So they had to book directly with the hotel, not get commission, so on and so forth. And the airfare was bundled into that too. So it really became a headache for the advisor rather than with us. We're saying, hey, we can make this happen. We can really kind of, there's no kind of restrictions on what we can do here too. So that advisor benefits, obviously the competitive advantages for travel advisors. As we mentioned before, this is a evergreen product. It really can be as much as you want or as little as you want. But every time you book with a Riverside Luxury Cruise, you have the option to add this. Jen, can you talk about the resources and tools that you have available for Riverside Luxury Cruise agents as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've got our sales team. That's why I showed them they're your best asset. But we've recently developed our first educational program. It launched in December. We talk about the Regal Wings partnership in every training we do. We included it in our training, in our educational platform. I just think enough of you don't know that we're working together. So that's why it's great that we're doing a webinar. But I mean, Regal Wings is a resource. We're a resource for them. They're a resource for us. And we're happy to talk to you about both partnership, the partnership, both brands, anytime you're talking to us. I see the question about Canada. We do in Canada, but you're working on expanding it, right, Chaz?
Yes, absolutely. So we are facilitated to work in Canada. We do Canadian contracts. I owe Peter some information on that, so I will get back to you guys as soon as possible. Daniel, let's mark down that to make sure we get back to that advisor specifically as well. But yeah, guys, I mean, like we mentioned before, we are in the training module with Riverside's agent training. We will also be coming out with really kind of vignettes on our website with the Luxury Travel Academy down the line. We have Amanda Harkins on here, who is our director of marketing, who is working on that as well. But it's one of those things where maximizing your time is a huge piece of that, where when you have that concierge person helping you out on complicated airfare schedules, one thing to keep you to is clients are doing a post-river cruise and need to fly somewhere. So let's say they fly into Budapest and out of Vienna. I'm not sure if that's a routing for you, Jen. You have to educate me on these river cruise things.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Good, perfect.
We got a little bit of that.
Let's say they wanted to do let's say they wanted to do a post in Rome. So obviously we book premium economy, business, and first class are the long haul travel. But sometimes when you're intra-Europe, the flights are so short and the business class cabin is just a blocked middle seat. We can actually book your guests in economy during their flights intra-Europe, as long as they're booked on a long haul flight with us with premium economy and business. So it's a really full service option for your guests that way. And I mentioned it's great to get a commission check on airfare. Generally, when people are like, I don't want to deal with this. This is not my thing. It's really something I want to make my client do. It's really a full service element with us and really rounds out the Riverside Luxury Cruises portfolio too. So we do challenge you guys. So if you guys have not worked with us, our QR code up here will register you to work with Regal Wings. And we also, hopefully, you're working with Riverside Luxury Cruises as well. You'll be receiving information back from them after this webinar. Does anybody, so Daniel, other than that, do we have any questions we haven't answered? Jen, anything we want to talk about or anything else we haven't touched on at this point?
One of the questions that came up was about the commission that I think you asked. I don't know if that's for the airfare or if that's for the cruises. My guess is for the airfare.
Sure. So what's the question, Daniel?
It is, when is commissions paid?
Sure. So commissions are distributed on the air side is 48 hours until about 3 weeks after the booking is made. So the reason for that is there's an internal kind of transactional things where we need to distribute the money to the airline. They send us back to us, and then we distribute it to you. So basically, in a nutshell, it's whenever the airline sends us the commission, we send it to you within about 24 to 48 hours. That's kind of why I say that 3 week time frame is there. It's an immediate return on a transaction. One thing to keep in mind with this too, the Riverside Luxury Cruises purchase and the Regal Wings purchase are separate. So they're not completely combined. So it's a new way to bundle, but it also gives you the element of selecting airfare and being much more strategic on that piece as well.
That was the only question that was there. Everybody has spoke very highly of Riverside Cruises. There's a couple of people that are going in on cruises soon, so that's exciting.
So Jen, anything in closing on your end?
No, I just want to say thank you for the time. I know the background noise is me. I'm actually doing this at an airport right now. Yeah, full transparency. So this is what we do. I mean, here, this is how we do it. So thank you guys for inviting Riverside on. Thank you advisors who are interested in working with us, with Regal Wings. Come see us at the Asta River Cruise Expo, because we're going to be doing, and look for us. Chaz goes out with a lot of our sales directors at times. So if you're at a local Asta event or another conference, a lot of times we're trying to partner up and, kind of, come together and remind you guys that we want to work together with you.
Awesome, Jen. And from our side, guys, thank you so much for joining us here this morning, this afternoon, wherever you guys are located. And in summation here, Regal Wings, we really want to make airfare as easy as possible for you. It's really a great element to add to your business model, selling in Canadian dollars and US dollars. That's all that question there, Elaine. Good to see you. But really, it's a great element, and the partnership is something that's new and really revolutionizing the way two partnerships can work together. We will also be at Asta River Cruise Expo, so we hope to see you guys at our booth. We'll also be on some of the ships. Jen unfortunately didn't invite me to stay on her ship, so I'm cheating on her and staying on another cruise line, so that's okay. But other than that, guys, thank you so much for reaching out, and we'll be following with any up-to-date with all information. We have another webinar coming up next month, and it's been my pleasure. Thank you so much.